Here are the tests that you guys requested for my 2022 Mansfield Summit toilet. It is set to the water line and using the original flapper on its original setting. So let's see how it does on these tests. For the first test, the Toilet Frenzy asks if I can simulate normal use without being too graphic. So I have this container of mud right here. I'm going to stick that right there. And then I have some toilet paper. So now let's see if it can take that. You would want a courtesy flush, but it didn't clog, so I guess that's a plus. It didn't do great, but I wouldn't say it failed. Robert Smith's Hobby Productions asks if I can flush 5 pounds of sand. I didn't measure it on a scale, but I have this 1 gallon bucket that's entirely full of sand, so we're gonna try that. I don't see this going very well. I'm gonna hold the handle. I think we're gonna have to wait for it to fill up and give it another flush. Two flushes with a full tank, while it is way more than 1.28 gallons per flush, I think that actually has done pretty well. A third flush will most certainly clear the rest of this sand. Well, there you have it. So for the next test, CJT Plumbing asks if I can flush napkins. He did not specify a number, so I will flush 5. Here's 1, 2. 2's right here. 3, 4, and 5. And now let's get these soaked up and see if it can pass. Did awesome. I had some left over from this, so let's try 9. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. It took 5 pretty well, so I think it will take 9 just fine. Well, if you have a Mansfield Summit, don't flush 9 Whataburger napkins. I'm going to wait for that to refill, and then I will try another flush, assuming it does not unclog itself in the meantime. That did not go so well. Master Flush asked if I could flush flowers, which I do not have, but I substituted with weeds. So let's see if it can take this handful of weeds. It left just a tiny bit, but overall, that did great. Darfield Zone asks if I can flush a sock. So let's see if it can pass. Well, to be fair, it was all dry. So I'm gonna squeeze some water into it, and I'm gonna give this another flush once the tank refills. I think it should pass now that it's not floating on the surface. It did perfectly. Darfield Zone also asks if I can flush barbecue sauce. I think ketchup will yield the same result, so I'll do that instead. So I put in 2 of those little tubs and then 4 packets. Wow, it even left a wrapper. I'm going to give that another flush once it refills and see if it can take the rest. I think a lot of this could be fixed with a longer flush, which is why vintage toilets are just better in general, but let's try another flush and see how much of this it can clear. It still left a little bit, but it got most. That was the full tank, or at least the whatever was left after the first flush, which is quite a lot, and it still left some. So the bowl rinse on this toilet is definitely not very good. HFTF Plumbing, Restorations, and More asks if I can flush 2 washcloths. So let's try it. I think it will fail. Yeah, it's clogged. So now let's try them separately. I'm gonna take them out and wait for the tank to refill. I think it should pass like this as long as it doesn't clump them together. I don't really know what to say there, because the first one didn't come out of the pipe, which means that I think it's still stuck in the trapway. Well, now it's just clogged on one. That's lame. That was a bit disappointing. Toilets and Tests asks if I can flush a pot of dirt. So I filled a pot with dirt, and now I'm gonna flush it. It will 100% fail with a press and release flush. It actually looks like it took about half of it. I'm going to hold the handle and empty the rest of the tank out. That actually did really, really well. it cleared it out of the bowl almost perfectly, except that abysmal bowl rinse strikes again, and you can see that there are some spots back there. So it would have taken it had they actually designed it well and given it good bowl rinse. But unfortunately, Mansfield does not feel like doing that, so we are stuck with cleaning that one ourselves. Toilets to the Max asks if I can flush broken glass. So before I do this, I would like to make a little announcement, and that is basically saying don't try this at home and broken glass is dangerous. Because when I was younger, I used to break glass a lot, and it was fun. I like breaking beer bottles and stuff, and I would basically just smash them apart in my sandbox. And one day I was digging in the sandbox, and a little tiny sliver of it became embedded in my left middle finger, and it remained there for 3 years, meaning that if I tapped something like this, the glass would press against my bone and it would hurt. So after that, I was actually able to get it removed by a surgeon, and now I don't have glass in my finger, but there is still scar tissue there. So glass is dangerous, guys. Don't mess around with it. I'm not a trained professional, I'm just an idiot, so I'm going to flush some broken glass. This is one complete beer bottle, and I have a tank lid at the end of the pipe to catch it all. That actually worked really well. There's still some in the toilet, but the tank lid caught it all. So I'm going to hold the handle and empty the rest of the tank. Well, there you have it. Took 2 flushes, but it cleared 1 complete beer bottle. TBC Plumbing asks if I can overflow it. Definitely. I would say that was a sufficient overflow. CGL Plumbing asks if I can do a dye test. So I will use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drops of dye. I'm going to mix them around and see if it can pass. The water may look clear. I don't know how it will appear on camera, but it is ever so slightly blue. So every time you use this toilet, it's leaving just a tiny little bit behind. CGL Plumbing also asks if I can flush soapy water. So let's try that. It will definitely take a few flushes to clear this. Your Average Idiot also requested this test, so some credit goes to him as well. It seems like it cleared it mostly in a second flush, but you can still see some foam in there, which means that there's still a little bit of soap left. Josh asked me to flush 2 sheets of paper. And there's no personal information on any of these, so there is no point looking. They're still in there. It took more than 1 flush, but it was able to do it with 1 tank of water. Catvin Draco asked if I could flush a shirt. So I have here 1 rag shirt. I'm going to check the size real quick, if I can find the top of it. So, looks like it is large, and it is made of cotton, I think. It will 100% clog. Yeah, it's too big. I think I got 1 toilet to take this, 1 or 2. I know my 1922 standard ejecto was able to pass a large cotton shirt, and I don't remember if the Devoro could do it or not, but a Mansfield Summit definitely can't. For the last test, Josh asked if I could draw a circle with marker and then see how well it removes that. So I have a washable blue marker here, and the toilet is wet, so it's not drawing very well, but I will try my best. Maybe I'll just do a half circle, since that seems to be the only thing that will work, or just a bunch of lines. I don't know how well you can see it, so I'll take this off the tripod for a minute, but the bowl rinse has failed us yet again. Look right there, and this toilet does not seem to be able to rinse anything to save its life. So I'm going to give it another flush and see if it can take the rest of that blue marker. Everything that was there from the last flush is still there now. So that's kind of sad. This toilet sucks, and I would definitely not buy one if it weren't only $60. So anyway, that is all for these tests. Thank you guys so much for suggesting them. If you enjoy my videos, please subscribe and turn on notifications. It helps my channel a lot, and I really appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and see you guys in the next video.